Okay, we just did some adding and subtracting, a little bit of division to both sides. Let's see some more of that division and multiplication to both sides. So let's take a question like 2x equals 4. Now again, in the notes, I rewrite the question and then do the method, but we're going to do the method right here. So on the left-hand side, we have 2x, which means 2 times x. And again, we need to do the opposite operation to both sides, and the opposite of times is division. So because it says 2 times x, we have to divide both sides by the coefficient of the variable. So whatever's in front of the x, to the left of the x, we're just going to divide both sides by that number. On the left-hand side, we have 2 over 2, which is 1. We can cross it off. Therefore, x equals 4 divided by 2 is 2. Circle our answer. Rewrite the question, 2x equals 4. Carefully substitute the answer with brackets in for the x value. Carefully substitute for brackets the x value of 2 that we just got with brackets. On the left-hand side, we have 2 times 2, which is 4. And on the right-hand side, we have 4 near the answer, x equals 2, circled, check mark. Remembering to rewrite the question and substitute the value that you got back in for the variable to make sure that works. So often you're going to recognize an error that you made while doing the algebra, and then by checking the answer and figuring out the answer is wrong, it gives you a whole toolbox to check answers on your own. If it's not correct, then you can look back through your work and decide the incorrect step and then figure out how to get there on your own. So let's do a little short form. So we have 2x equals 4. Now, we could, again, divide both sides by 2 like we just did. Or just think, if we were to divide both sides by 2, what would happen? Well, this 2 would cross off and would be left with a over 2 on this side. Therefore, x equals 4 divided by 2 is 2. Check mark. So, all sorts of little short forms. So make sure you remember the theory of the scales. It's an equal sign. You have to do the same thing to both sides. We're always going to be performing the opposite operation to both sides. And if you can just think ahead of time what would happen, feel free to skip those steps as long as your teachers allow it. So, next question. X over 3 equals 6. Now, on the left-hand side, it says x divided by 3. X over 3 means divided by. X divided by 3. Well, the opposite of divide is times. So I'm simply going to times both sides by 3. Simply multiplying both sides by the number below the letter. These English instructions are in the notes. On the left-hand side, we have 3 over 3. Now, again, make sure when you're timesing both sides, times the top. Timesing the bottom is division, or timesing some random place other than the top is not perfect. It's going to look perfect this way. You may as well do it this way. So on the left-hand side, we have 3 over 3 is 1. We get x equals 6 times 3 is 18. Circle our answer. So rewrite in the question, x over 3 equals 6. Carefully substituting the x value we just got back in for x into the question. 18 over 3 equals 6. 18 divided by 3 is 6. 6 equals 6. Check mark near the answer, x equals 18. Now, the short form for this question, again, we have x over 3 equals 6. Think times both sides by 3 and simply cross off the 3, put it where it belongs. X equals 18. Be really careful with these shortcuts, and if you don't fully understand them, keep doing the method. The opposite operation of both sides of the equation, solve, check your answer. Then practice the quick methods if you like. Okay, let's take 5 over 4x equals 10. Now, you may be thinking, is that x on the top or the bottom? Well, it's on the top. If it's on the middle, it's on the top. I'm going to rewrite it on the top, and you can think about it in either way you like. So again, as we learned in the example that we just did, we had a 3 on the bottom. We want to simply times both sides by 3. So now we have a 4 on the bottom. We simply want to times both sides by 4. On the left-hand side, we have 4 over 4, which is 1. We can cross it off. 5x equals 10 times 4 is 40. Now, the step from the first question on this page, we're doing 5 times x. The opposite of times is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by the coefficient of the variable. On the left-hand side, we have 5 over 5, which is 1. Cross it off. X equals 40 divided by 5 is 8. Circle your answer. Rewrite the question. 5 over 4x equals 10. Carefully substitute the x value back in. 5 over 4, open bracket. Our x value of 8, substitute back in, equals 10. Now remember, the 8 is over 1. Multiplying fractions, multiply the tops. 5 times 8 is 40. 4 times 1 is 4, equals 10. 40 divided by 4 is 10. The right-hand side is 10. Near the answer, x equals 8, check mark. Now, there are quicker ways again. Let's rewrite the question. 5 over 4x equals 10. I like to put the x on the top where it belongs. Now, we're dividing by 4. If I thought about timesing both sides by 4, I could simply just cross off the 4 and say times 4. Now I could think divide both sides by 5, simply cross off the 5 and put it below. We have x equals 10 times 4 is 40, divided by 5 is 8. Circle your answer. You're going to save so many steps. So many steps. This is just cross multiplication. You have a 4 on the bottom, the left-hand side goes to the top, timesing on the right-hand side. You have a 5 on the top of the left-hand side, goes to the bottom of the right-hand side. Be really careful with cross multiplication. It is so dangerous. You have to fully understand. Make sure you think through the scale. We have an equal sign on both sides. Think, do the opposite operation of both sides of the equation, working with bedmass backwards generally. Then think, can I do a shortcut? Make sure you check your answer every single time you ever do a question. And then if you get more and more comfortable with these shortcuts, feel free, depending on the level of however much your teacher requires you to show steps. Okay, on to some more complicated versions.